How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Star Wars review, joined by usuals,
Jonah Morgan,
Caden Emerson.
And today we are talking about the second movie in the prequels with Attack of the Clones.
Ooh. Ooh.
Once again, on rewatch, I enjoyed this more.
Honestly, I liked this movie a lot the first time. I'm going to be waving this around the entire time. I just got
He bought a Darth Maul lightsaber.
I wanted to have it for the Phantom Menace one, but it didn't come in time, but it's whatever.
Well, you're saying, here's the excuse for it. Darth Maul is still alive. There you go.
Yeah, he's still, it's fine. It's whatever. But I was one of the people that, like, I love this movie on first watch, but I, again, like it better on second watch. Because the bad stuff is not as bad as I remember it being.
Same.
But we'll get into that, I guess. But
Which we'll get into that now. What we didn't like about this movie.
the Padme and Anakin scenes are not as bad as I remember them being.
No, they're not.
I went into this movie, I really thought I was going to like it less. Because I couldn't remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he said it.
But I was
think
like,
I might like it less.
Because all I remember was like, oh, this was awkward, this sucked, this was bad. I'm going to be straight up honest. I'm just going to be dead honest. I enjoyed that. I don't know why, and I know, like, every film critic or whatever is like, this movie's terrible, but I'm telling you.
The critics are stupid because they gave Last Jedi something.
I look more, like, fan reviews more than critics, and fans love this movie. Fans love the prequels.
Honestly, because, like they were saying, Anakin and Padme stuff, some of it's rough.
Some of it's rough,
then, like,
but it's not as drawn out as I remember it.
The rough stuff, it's small, it's because I remember it being like, that's most of the movie.
It's certain lines. It's only certain lines that you're like, yeah, that's kind of weird. But it's mostly from Anakin because Hayden Christensen was.
Yeah, but let's get into him now. He is not the best actor here. He has his moments. Once again, he's not as terrible of an actor as I remember in this movie. But he's still, he still has some line delivery where I'm just like,
and you said you don't like the line delivery when he's talking about when he killed the Tusken Raider. I think it's cool.
That didn't mind me on rewatch.
I like it because he does it pretty
You can
just
hear
in anguish.
You can hear that in his voice.
He's repeating, especially too, like, I'm going to be the most powerful Jedi. He's repeating what Palpatine says to him earlier. Because you can. Here's the thing, and we talked about this with the dialogue. The dialogue is, and this is George Lucas's own words.
I'd like to hear this again.
He says, George Lucas says, "I am the king of wooden dialogue." So in his own words, the dialogue is clunky.
To do it.
It's awkward. It's stiff. It's just not like he said, like, I am not good at being subtle or anything.
No.
But the way that George Lucas, and this is from his own words, the way he thinks of dialogue and writing is, he thinks of it like sound effects, which sounds like, oh, he doesn't care about it, like what? But if you think about it, the sound effects in Star Wars are probably the most iconic sound effects ever. All the sound effects in all of Star Wars, you know, that George Lucas has a hand in, are clear, distinct, unique,
definitive
meaning, and that's the whole thing. Is all of his like mindset with writing is the characters say what they mean and say what they're feeling, which is, not the best writing style. I'll say that.
It's just who he is.
It's how he writes, and going into it with that mindset really helps look at the movie.
Because
we were pointing out some things, double meanings all throughout.
Yes.
Like, Django Fett, he's saying to ObiWan, the clones are going to do their job well. Like, they do. They kill all the Jedi.
And then Anakin says that Padme and Anakin's love will destroy them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obi-Wan, Anakin, you're going to be the death of me. Mm-hmm. Little on the nose, but all right.
A little on the nose, but okay.
Just all kinds of stuff. And it's just listening to, or repeating lines from that Anakin repeats a line that Palpatine has said, and you can already see he's getting like his little brain hooks into him, just from already. If you have the right mindset, it's still rough sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Anakin's still gross, but you're watching it, and it gives you like a kind of a deeper appreciation for it too.
That's true.
Once you look past like the cruddy little upper layer that's got this, that, solid movie.
That's why I don't really have anything besides like just some of the dialogue. I don't really have anything else that's.
The most I know, it was just like Anakin's acting because it was such a big part.
Sometimes he's a little whiny.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But he still had his moments where it's like you could see he was a good actor. Like I mean, I guess we can go and just mix the two categories here because that scene with Anakin and his mother.
There's really good acting.
Wow.
By both of them.
That scene was hard. You could see the despair and just anger because, like you pointed out, you faintly hear Darth Vader's theme.
Yeah, you hear Darth Vader's theme, and then when you see Yoda, you hear Vader breathe once in the background, but you don't realize, you don't hear him. You hear him inhale, but you don't hear him exhale. So much you don't realize it at the time where you're like, wait, was that Vader?
And you hear Qui-Gon sort of like trying to call out to him because Yoda's sensing it in the Force. I mean, Anakin can't hear him. So Qui-Gon is witnessing Anakin do this.
The musical cues out of this world.
Music once again is incredible.
Yeah, music, and then just somehow like because I think this happens in pretty much all of them. But especially this one and Revenge of the Sith. But this really starts it mixing like Empire with this with Sith theme, but then also a hopeful Republic sound in the background. It's like
and something they didn't know. Mixing Duel of the Fates in.
Oh yeah, and it's just like another Duel of the Fates.
We were like, wait, is that Duel?
And I was like, wait, I knew something.
Which I'm so glad that I like. It's seen as like. Obviously Darth Maul's theme song, but like they use it for more than just that because it works very well.
I will say, I went into it. I really thought the plot was rough off of my memory. It's a solid plot.
Yeah,
like there's certainly some things I'm like, all right.
There's some character choices that are questionable,
and I will say though, especially the parts where Anakin is annoying. I think you can kind of justify it after his mom passes away, and you can see like a clear change in his acting. It's I don't know, but I kind of feel like it's at least somewhat intentional. Because before he's like Obi-Wan, this that, and then like why doesn't anyone take me seriously? Then holding his dying mother, amazing acting, and then I feel like everything after and the following that, it's like. You don't see whiny, upset, crybaby Anakin anymore. You see a more mature, maybe not any less arrogant or he still has a lot of issues.
Like he is in Revenge.
He's less like, what's happening? He
grows up a little bit.
Speaking of which, I think Natalie Portman gives a much better performance.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that was one of my problems with Phantom Menace is that I didn't think she gave a great performance. Here, it's a lot better.
She's less wooden than I remember her being in the prequels, which is interesting. Because like she's wooden in Phantom Menace.
I only really ever remembered her being wooden in Phantom Menace.
For the little bit that she's in Phantom Menace, but here,
she's good here.
There's no.
Even then, Padme herself, I thought was fine in the movie.
Padme herself is a good character.
Yeah.
I remember my one thing, Jar Jar. Thank you. Goodbye. Because Jar Jar...
He's not as big a part in this movie,
But if it wasn't for Jar Jar, who knows if the original trilogy would have happened, because Jar Jar gives... Yeah, what does he do? He
gives the order to use
puts forward the resolution, like...
To give
let's give him emergency powers. And
when you're looking at it, having seen the original trilogy, yes, it's because of that like, Order 66 happened. But when you think about it from the perspective of Jar Jar...
They had no clue.
Exactly. So, like...
But still screw him.
The fight scenes in this movie are once again incredible.
So are we to what we like now because we don't?
I just said we
we kind of have been this whole time.
That's fine.
We're just mixing the two because these fight scenes in this film, holy crap!
Yeah, it's the prequels.
I will say the Dooku fight with Anakin. It was the Dooku fight with Anakin. I feel like was a little weak. The pace, like
there's the one where it keeps flipping back for between.
There's a one point where it shows them,
and I understand like it's supposed to be an intense one-on-one and especially afterwards you can see Dooku's like, why is this Padawan so good?
Yeah.
Like
if you look at him, Christopher Lee, the actor that plays Dooku, is breathing heavy,
and like
when he finishes off Anakin by slicing off everything from like the elbow down.
I forgot it was just his hand. It was.
So I recognize that Revenge of the Sith, but like he's like heavily breathing.
Dooku. The thing is, when Dooku's fighting somebody, he's trash talking them the entire time, which makes it better. But the weaker Anakin fight is made up for by the Yoda fight.
Yeah, Yoda.
We gotta talk about the Yoda fight. Holy!
It's the first time you see Yoda in action besides him lifting up that X-wing in Empire.
But it's so cool because you see it shows how powerful Yoda is, not just in the Force, but in his fighting capabilities.
Yeah, because I remember my dad told me that
and even harnessing lightning.
When he saw this in theaters, he sees Yoda flipping around. He's like, wait a second.
Yoda can flip.
Excuse me?
That decrepit old man can jump over this, like, 6'2" guy with a lightsaber? All right, yeah.
He's awesome.
Also, since we're on the fight scenes, that arena fight.
Oh, the arena fight is better than I remember it being. And I loved it before.
Yeah.
Because the entire place around them is CGI, but it doesn't look anything like CGI. It looks so good. The scenery's really good.
The art direction of it is
the
beautiful.
art direction. The
Geonosis is gorgeous.
It really is.
And the monster CGI is really good. Just the CGI in general in this movie, besides the clones for a little bit,
honestly,
is really good.
It's thinking on that, I didn't think the clones looked terrible.
The clowns are not the best. I remember them being.
There were a couple times where I was like, "Ooh, little rough." But for most part, like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
it.
you don't notice it.
I'd say that's good CGI. That's like
because they had their helmets
to
on.
not notice them, like you're kind of like the idea of like if a sound person or a lighting person's doing their job well, you won't know they're doing their job well. I think there's a clear and distinct drop off in CGI as the movie progresses. And if I had to guess, there's probably like the editors are doing time constraints and they're like rushing to make
and
like
also
with
the CGI apparently, especially in the last fight, there's a lot of it to do.
Oh yeah,
because
it's
such a big scale.
All the clones,
but I think it still looks.
It's what, like 2002. They're like,
yeah.
We haven't really done this before, we don't even have green screens. It's all blue screen. We're just doing what we can, and then made it look like
good,
beautiful.
It's one of the this movie. It shows you how big of a scale the Clone Wars actually is.
Yeah,
because the arena fight, and then you go into the huge battlefield on Geonosis, and it's really good.
I mean, most of the characters we already know. Again, we've already talked about. I mean, ObiWan once again is still probably the best part.
His hair fittingly looks like Jesus,
and everybody makes a joke about it. But you look at his hair. Yeah. You look at his hair, and it's just like you actually believe that. He feels more like Obi-Wan here than the last one. And I think that the facial hair and everything just makes it feel.
I think
like
you're with him the majority of this movie. I feel like because you're with him on Camino, you're with him on Geonosis for a good bit.
Speaking of that, Jango Fett.
Give me him in Star Wars Battlefront, the video game. Give it. But anyways.
Jango's pretty cool.
I was rooting for Jango. I know how it ends. I was rooting for him to beat Obi-Wan because he's so cool.
I love Tamora Morrison. Tamora Morrison is so perfect.
Yeah, this is the introduction of Tamora Morrison.
This is the first time you see Tamora. He's perfect.
Yeah.
He looks. Yeah, and he was so iconic that in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, he voices every single clone.
Boba Fett's a little annoying.
Boba's a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, some of his acting is like he pretty much whispers. He's like
in
the same tone of voice, he goes, "Fire!"
He's
in that same tone.
And he was a little bit older than Jake Lloyd, probably a little bit older.
I thought Jake Lloyd gave a better performance than.
Oh no, 100%. But I think
saying something.
And this kid is a little bit older than Jake Lloyd was.
I would believe so, yeah.
But respect where respect is due. Once he grew up and started doing Boba Fett and
Clone
Wars,
of course,
fire.
And then Django, his suit is
Dooku.
awesome.
Oh yeah,
his suit is awesome. The pistols are everything about him is awesome. Like how he has he's sliding down the dome thing, and he all of a sudden gets this thing out of his gauntlet.
Like something you see him from Batman.
He literally has something for every single situation, like Batman. It's awesome. It's cool.
And he has a brutal end.
First introduction to Mandalorians, and it's like, whoa, this guy just whooped Obi-Wan. And
he gives Obi-Wan a
and he even killed another Jedi. Another Jedi tried going for Dooku, and Jango shoots him dead.
Because Mandalorians specifically,
and the only
of any person who doesn't use the Force and guns or whatever, if they're gonna fight a Jedi, you want it to be a Mandalorian.
And the only person that could touch him is Windu, who is at this point the most powerful Jedi,
and Windu is who
fighter.
Kills him.
Yeah, Windu's who kills him, but he's the most powerful Jedi lightsaber fighter there is. So it's
not a chance he kills him if that Rhino didn't hit him and break his jetpack earlier.
Yeah.
If he could fly away, gone. He's in the next 10, 15 movies. He does not die.
Because nobody kills him. Yeah.
That guy's a beast.
I mean, the only other new character I've talked about is Dooku.
Dooku, rest in peace to
Christopher Lee.
Rest in peace, Christopher Lee. He's great. He's great.
He is great.
He's because by this time, Christopher Lee got well known for playing Dracula in like the 50s, probably.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Because he's already like he was people that like not the younger people didn't know, but like the older people that were watching this movie, they had seen him before, and he's perfect he's like literally. Well, he defines what Dooku is.
Yeah.
And, like, in Star Wars The Clone Wars, they modeled Dooku after Christopher Lee. They don't change it at all.
The, like,
But
aristocratic...
They do.
He's like... Because he's like this... You can tell he's a rich aristocrat. But he's got, like, greed and this desire for power. Because that's the whole thing, too. Like, Mace Windu, part of the reason why he doesn't kill Count Dooku is because he's like... Oh, this guy used to be a Jedi. Right now, he's basically a civilian.
He doesn't know he's a Sith. Yeah,
he's like he used to be a really good fighter, but he's lost his abilities.
Because Yoda, like after he fights him, Yoda talks about him. And he's like, Dooku has turned to the dark side. So like, wait, they didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's just like the way he's trying to. He literally has Obi-Wan prisoner, and he's still like trying to be like, yes, like. This unprovoked aggression, the Trade Federation would never, and like he's just, it's just perfect acting. And
he pretty much tells Obi-Wan the fact that like the Sith is being controlled by Darth. He tells Obi-Wan's like, I don't believe you. So I bet you when Order 66 happens, he's just like, crap, he was telling me.
When Cody shoots him, we'll get to that. But also his fighting style, I love.
So cool.
I love his fighting style. It's based off of like fencing. Because you never unless he's blocking, you never see him put a second hand in his lightsaber. It's always one, and that's why his hilt is curved, correct? So so it's easier to use with one hand.
I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
I liked the romance. I said it, and you guys can hate me for it.
You know what? I didn't mind it either.
Come at us.
It's got a certain beauty to it. I know, but it's like, wow.
They're two very attractive people. You're like, okay.
It's not even that. It's like, oh, wow. And it's certainly, oh my goodness.
It also gives us a really good
different word choice, please. But I like, Anakin's like, he's loved her forever, all this stuff. And then just like, they think they're going to die. And it's beautiful. I don't know.
It also gives us a good musical number.
Oh yeah, I'd say that's like a top 5.
Oh, it's really good.
I think I have one last thing. I
also have one thing.
Before I think it might be the same thing. The very beginning of the movie, the chase scene,
the speeder chase scene is really good.
such a cool scene.
Because that's the first time you get like just the dynamic between Anakin and ObiWan, and it's great.
Yeah,
it's like he treats him like a little brother almost.
Yeah.
Because, like Anakin talks about him as like he's a father figure. They act more like older, like
they
older,
act more like
brother.
brothers. Because Qui-Gon was much more of a father to Anakin.
R2-D2 finally did some cool stuff.
C-3PO and R2-D2 once again.
Yeah, they become. Well, they already were the household names, but you see them transforming into what they become in original trilogy.
Because like R2-D2 for the most part, like you see him do cool stuff. He's like fixing the ship and everything, but then. In this one, it's really like he can fly.
They become
whoa,
and they become a comedic duo.
Yeah,
at this point because at that point C-3PO's head is on a battle droid. He literally grabs it, takes it off, and then welds it to the They become what they are in the original trilogy. And I think it's great.
This is an interesting one.
Okay,
which do you want to go first? I gotta think about mine.
I'll go first. I gave.
You gave
7.
a 7.
7.
Then we were 6.5.
Yes.
I've got mine.
7.5 or 8. I'm gonna go 8.
Wow. Okay.
Wait, no, I'm gonna go 7.5.
Okay. I was about to say 8's a bit high.
I was like
8 because 8 is what I would like. Yeah, 7.5. It's because before watching this, I would have given it.
Before watching this, I might have given it a 5.
It's better than Phantom.
Before watching this, I would have given it a 5.
As much as
my prediction going in, I thought I was going to give it a 4.
As much as I hate to say it, it's way more enjoyable to watch than Phantom Menace because Phantom Menace does move a little bit slow.
Yeah,
but
much less politics.
much less politics, because that's what the first one's about. And in the first one, yes, the final like act is great, but it's great in this movie too.
But there's way too much like mediocre acting and some
Yes,
mediocre characters. This movie dials back on that.
This movie is
Natalie
way more.
Portman gives a better performance. They reduced Jar Jar to maybe 2 minutes of screen time.
No, he probably has a minute and a half. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a minute too long, but I'll take what I can get. You know,
he makes some dumb decisions. Why does she leave him in charge? Anyways, as much as it hates me to say it, because come on, this movie's better than Phantom Menace, and I'm not gonna say I don't think it's close, but I think it's pretty obvious on rewatch.
I came into this fully prepared to go 4.5 because I don't know why, but I really just remember, man, this was rough. Because a lot of people, they're starting to watch Star Wars. They watch Phantom Menace, and they're like, okay. Maybe they're not big fans of Star Wars. So they're
slower.
It's slow. They hit this, and then lots of times they're like, it was so, corny. I just hate it. And then, they kind of stop. So I was really expecting, some issues. Completely changed my mind.
Why?
It's universally, hated for pretty much no reason. Everyone's the CGI is terrible.
No,
this is terrible. This acting's this is okay.
Appreciate
CGI
movies.
is good.
Appreciate movies. Yeah, the CGI is
Acting
really good.
Better than at least maybe you say it's bad. Fair, you can say
it's better than Menace.
Better than Menace.
Overall, it's better than because the only person who I think gives a mediocre performance is Hayden. But even then, he gives some great
he's
performances.
younger, but in Revenge, anyways.
And so I was completely blown out of the water pretty much by this. Just because, I don't know. It was I was watching it for the first time, and I was, actually,
That's what I...
Ignore, the, I'd say, combined total half hour of awkward stuff. And then look at all the cool Detective ObiWan finding stuff, mystery.
Yeah, he's like a detective.
Big, giant battle, start of a galactic war, or galactic civil war. And I'm like, okay. And I'm going to give this... I said 6.5 the last time.
Yeah, you did.
I'm giving this a 7.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't know if I can justify 7.5 because 7.5 is
that's a low.
that means you like this going in.
I liked it going in. Yeah, which is
4 to 7 is pretty crazy, at least to me. But
I'm
willing to say
because 5 average, 6 pretty good, 7 it's good.
7's this is a good movie.
I think so.
And
4 to 7 is a big. I'll say that.
I'm saying this is better than Phantom Menace, which is literally when we recorded the Phantom Menace video. I said, "Oh yeah, Attack of the Clones is the worst prequel."
I don't know.
And then you said, I don't know. I'll have to check. Let's watch it. And then I watched it again.
And I was with him on this one because I was like, oh yeah, Phantom is definitely in the middle.
And so that's the reason that Christian said this earlier. He said that prequels we might like we're not saying they're better overall movies, but we might like them better than the originals, in terms of enjoyment.
And personal enjoy, objectively, the original trilogy is better because chiming in on what I think. I'm sort of with him on this. I did not mind this movie on first watch, but then I was rewatching it and I was just sitting there I'm having a lot more fun watching this than Phantom Menace because like I had said multiple times, I think the acting all around is still really good. Even Hayden Christensen gives some great performances, even when he has some line at times. Even when he has some line deliveries where it's just
it's questionable.
The fight scenes are incredible. It's just a more interesting.
That is one
watch.
thing that the prequels, I will say right now, do better than the original trilogy, and it is fight scenes because it's
which we will culminate those thoughts in next time. Yeah. But I'm gonna have because I do honestly think that this is better than Phantom Menace, and I gave Phantom Menace Caden a 6.5.
Which is weird.
I'm gonna match up my score with Caden as well. Okay. I'm giving this a 7.
Which I understand because 7.5, 7 aren't that far off, but I also like the prequels going in more than you guys did, so I understand it.
Whereas our opinions have really changed rewatching.
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, so I give it a 7 out of 10. It was so much more enjoyable than I remembered. It was almost 2.5 hours, but it didn't feel long.
That's really,
Which, and it's weird to say that Phantom Menace we now think is the worst of the prequels because it's still
But even then,
it's still a good movie. So the prequels are better than I remember them being. So stop hating on them, everybody.
Seriously. But
they have flaws, but they have a lot of good things.
There's some real gent, and yes, there's some real pieces of coal you gotta sort of look past. Like, there's certainly some rough parts, but there's some gems.
Because when colon is crushed, you get diamonds, man.
Isn't that true? Enough pressure on these movies from all these bad reviews. You look at it now, and you're like,
hey, oh crap,
man, what was I thinking? This is a good movie.
Yeah, if you hate on the next video, you're gonna get our wrath.
Speaking of that,
You're gonna feel our wrath.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
next time, I don't think I've been excited to do a review like this ever since we did No Way Home. Because next time we are going to be doing Revenge of the Sith.
And I'm holding this. And I'm holding this the entire time during that review too. I don't care.
But
I can already tell you what I'm going to rate it. I'm not going to say it.
same.
But I can already tell you.
But
same.
because
But we'll keep it a mystery.
But yeah, that's gonna have to do it for Attack of the Clones. I'm so excited. I'm just excited because we've been again rewatching these movies. I'm just excited to rewatch Revenge of the Sith, and it hasn't been that long since I rewatched it.
Keep that. Yeah, it was New Year's Eve.
I know.
just keep that excitement because
I stayed until like 2 a.m. watching it.
You're gonna need some of that like leftover excitement for the next trilogy. Sorry, bud, but it's gonna have to happen.
In terms of a rant, sure.
Well, hey,
Who knows? Maybe you could like it better, like you have.
Like Last Jedi more? Bull.
Or Force Awakens, maybe.
I always love Force Awakens, so
Okay,
that's fine.
well, yeah.
Stay tuned for later on next week because we're going to try to record this review Tuesday for the review of Revenge of the Sith. The excitement is so real in this one. We'll see y'all later. See y'all later, webheads.